Tanzania, we have an amazing array of places we call home. But when it comes to interior designing, decorations, and gardening, we don't make the most of the spaces. On The Decor, you learn about designs, styles, functions, elegance, and traditions by being inspired from the best in the field to transform your spaces and create more memories. On Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
In Capital News tonight, Tanzania and South Africa agree to strengthen economic ties. 7 Morogoro oil tanker fire victims die at Muhimbili Hospital. And in sports, NBA champions Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri arrives in Dar es Salaam ahead of the Giants of Africa training camp. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and Dr. John Magufuli of Tanzania have met and held talks at State House in Dar es Salaam on various areas of economic cooperation between the two countries. Before the two leaders held the talks, President Ramaphosa inspected a guard of honor and was given a 21-gun salute.
We expressed satisfaction at the strong bilateral relations between our two nations, which are informed by our historical ties, and we further agreed that much more can still be done to deepen and strengthen those relations across a number of areas and fields. We affirmed our commitment to the speedy implementation of various sectoral agreements that have been arrived at between our two governments, to advance people-to-people relations, to enhance trade between our two countries, to ensure that we have further investments between our two nations, that there is infrastructure development and cooperation in the energy field.
Muda mfupi uliopita mimi na Mheshimiwa Rais Ramaphosa.
A short while ago, myself and President Ramaphosa had a meeting, in private and officially. Our discussion was centered on how we can strengthen economic relations. As you know, South Africa has one of the largest economies in Africa. It is second after Nigeria and is the only African country in the G20, formed by the richest countries in the world. As you know, Tanzania is set to use our many resources, so by 2025 to have attained middle economy status. Therefore, in our discussion, we've discussed on how the two nations can strengthen economic ties, particularly in the following areas: trade and investment, which is very significant.
Addressing a business forum later in the afternoon, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa said in order for African countries to achieve the economic goals, more efforts are needed to improve the business climate. On his part, President Dr. John Magufuli said Africa has many opportunities which, if tapped, will liberate the countries from poverty.
The timeless words of the late President Julius Nyerere when he said, "Without unity, there is no future for Africa." The achievement of consensus amongst African countries on the Continental Free Trade Area is a sign of the future that is to come, of a transformative Africa built on the principle of shared and inclusive growth. Over the coming decades, the population of our continent will grow to well over 1 billion people. The population of cities and universities will expand at an even greater rate, and by 2030, African consumers will spend well over 2.5 trillion US dollars.
The balance of trade between our nations is yet another indicator of our close cooperations. Certainly, these achievements are ascribed to our long-standing diplomatic, political, and economic ties. Despite this achievement, a lot of trade and investment potentials remain unexploited. In fact, if we fully utilize all the available opportunities, our bilateral trade and investment cooperation would attain a new and unprecedented height. The industrial sector presents a major investment opportunity which is full alliance with the visions of the current 50th government. It is a fact that in our country, the level of productions of manufactured goods is still very low. And so, is it contributions to the nation's gross product, GDP, it is actually less than 15%.
Sector have jointly developed a blueprint for regulatory reforms to improve the investment and business environment, and its implementation is already underway. Fully implemented, this will completely change the way Tanzania is facilitating entrepreneurs to invest and do business. Tanzania is also massively investing in improving rail, road, ports, and communication infrastructure, the production, transmission, and distribution of energy from various sources to support the industrialization drive and the improvement of our human resources.
And the death toll of casualties of the oil tanker fire accident, which had occurred in Morogoro last Saturday, has gone up after 7 patients admitted at Muhimbili National Hospital died last night, bringing the latest number of deaths to 89. This was said by the head of communication of Muhimbili Hospital, Aminieli Aligaishi.
I am sad to announce that today 7 more people have died, coming to a total of 21 from the number of 46 patients that we received. We are left with 25 patients, where 16 of them are at the intensive care unit and 9 patients are attended at Sewahaji ward. However, we are impressed with hard work done by professional doctors here at Muhimbili National Hospital in saving these people's lives.
Kwanza naipongeza serikali. Naipongeza sana serikali kwa sababu
I would like to congratulate our government and the military force for the support they have done to those affected by this disaster. In the meantime, I would like to call on my fellow Tanzanians, when such disasters happen, we should allow doctors to do their job instead of creating chaos at the hospital.
Ushirikiano kwa kweli kwenye majanga kama yanapotokea.
And the disaster committee in Morogoro formed to address the oil tanker fire accident incident at Msamvu area has said that there is more need for medical facilities than funds in order to treat the accident victims. This was said by Morogoro Region Commissioner Dr. Kebwe Stephen Kebwe when announcing progress on contributions from various donors to a special NMB bank account for the accident victims.
Right now, there are demands of working tools and machines for checking body performances like blood pressure, pulses, and oxygen circulation. We also don't have some monitors which are essential to be used to patients who are in critical conditions. The previous night, I felt bad and taken to hospital, where they discovered that my blood pressure levels were down, and I'm on medication right now. I'm under the support of my friends and some neighbors. In collaboration with the government social welfare institution, got an opportunity to cooperate with other social work professionals to provide emotional and psychological services to ensure that those affected by this disaster are also supported in these sensitive areas so that they can easily resume to their normal conditions.
And the retired president of the third phase government, Benjamin Mkapa, has called for increased cooperation between member states of the Southern African Development Community by removing barriers which are a drawback to development. He made the statement during a discussion on development, challenges and opportunities for SADC nations held at the University of Dar es Salaam.
I will not be the first person to admit that the challenges facing our countries and region are many and daunting. They include poorly integrated markets, widespread poverty, low levels of productivity, outdated or inefficient technologies, and insufficient infrastructure development. These constitute only a part of the obstacles we have to overcome. It is also true that our state of development, characterized by small and medium-sized enterprises, weakly linked to intra- and extra-regional markets, do not make for better opportunities for growth, employment, and poverty reduction.
And emerging opportunities. Our greatest resource is our people, especially our young population, who are supposed to be at the forefront in implementing and advancing the SADC integration agenda. It is therefore worrying that our knowledge and awareness about SADC among the population in the region is very limited. Recognizing that people are the means and the target of development initiatives, and therefore it should be at the center of SADC regional integration agenda, SADC organizes these public lectures.
Tanzania, as chair of SADC, will be tasked to continue the path towards realizing goals set forth by our founding fathers, which is to have a shared future, a future within a regional community. Tanzania will therefore build on the gains already realized thus far. The focus will be on three main aspects, namely creating a conducive environment for industrial growth and expansion across the region, taking collective measures to promote intra-regional trade, and creating more opportunities for our youth across the region. These aspects are key to the attainment of sustainable and equitable economic growth and socio-economic development of our countries.
And the District Commissioner of Tunduru in Ruvuma Region, Julius Mtatiro, has banned mining activities at Muhuesi River due to environment degradation. He also called on the Ministry of Works, Minerals and Water to sort out procedures for mining activities, which he said are currently confusing.
5 minutes from now, all activities at this mine should be suspended. Also by 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, all of this machinery should have been removed as well. We shall be sending official communication to our ministers tomorrow. This communication will explain all of the controversies that we have met. I would like to implore you to make a follow-up on this matter in a way which respects our rights. I am saying this because when we followed up on the issue, we encountered a lot of tactics which were meant to delay us from engaging in mining activities.
The former Member of Parliament for Singida East and Chief Advocate for the opposition Chadema Party, Tundu Lissu, has requested the High Court to stop the swearing-in process of the new Member of Parliament for the constituency, Miraji Mtaturu of CCM, who was elected last month. The request was made on behalf of Tundu Lissu by 4 lawyers led by Advocate Peter Kibatala, who requested the court to direct the Speaker of the National Assembly, Job Ndugai, to submit the document stating Tundu Lissu's removal as MP for Singida East, which he had presented in Parliament. Former MP Tundu Lissu is in Belgium, where he is still being treated for injuries he received when he was shot at by unidentified people on September 7, 2017 at his residence in Dodoma. National news, international news is next. And in international news, President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda has criticized members of parliament from the ruling NRM party who amended the constitution so as to enable him to continue to lead the country after increasing their terms in parliament from 5 to 7 years.
The MPs were getting themselves into a trap, and I advised them. And many of them had seen the light, and they were moving to amend the constitution to clarify until the Supreme Court came in and helped them to say, when you are cooking, don't dish for yourself.
9 Rwandans who had been tortured and had their assets seized have opened a case against the government of Uganda at the East African Court for having violated their rights. Among the 9 include the family of Mpao funeral relative.
And we ask that our countrymen who are still in jail be released.
Ikintu kimeze nk'icyo ngicyo cyo gufungwa nabi mu buryo bunyuranyije n'amategeko. Barangiye batwara kuri court.
They were caught and taken to court and found guilty of illegally entering the country. Thus, their claims have no truth. And when they were found guilty, they were sentenced to 13 months in prison or to pay a fine of 600,000. Because their money had already been taken, no one was able to pay the fine, and instead they were jailed.
The Supreme Court in Kenya has given the Senate and National Assembly more time to pursue mediation over the county revenue allocation stalemate. The court was told that the National Assembly had already appointed members of its mediation team and was only waiting for the Senate to appoint theirs.
Tunashindana na maisha ya wananchi, tafadhalini, kwa heshima kuu.
Please, with all due respect, let us release their funds so that the councillors, government of Nakuru and other counties can continue to provide services to the citizens of our country.
The
Speaker of the Senate shall appoint the Senate's members to the mediation committee as required by Article 113 of the Constitution. Number 2, thereafter the houses, both houses, shall undertake the constitutional mandate under Article 113 and report to this court as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to take the 30 days that are there in the Constitution. The Constitution reads within 30 days. You can finish that within a very short while, and you
We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost-effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back. Let's now turn to business news. Some entrepreneurs from Uganda, Rwanda and Burundi attending the Kagera Investment Week have expressed interest in various investment opportunities in Kagera, but would like to see more improvements on the investment climate in the region in order to attract more investors.
There are areas for modern livestock. We have people able to do this, and they are doing it in Rwanda. We are ready for agriculture, that is maize, soybeans and other types of farming. People must take advantage of these opportunities. This market is a big one. We, as residents of Kagera in Tanzania, must reach this 190 million person market as quickly as possible. We must produce more and efficiently, as well as increase the quality of goods we produce.
Tanzanians have been urged to venture into honey production as there is a reliable honey market in China. Tanzania's Forest Service, TFS, says despite there being market opportunities, production of honey in the country is low.
We have found a market for honey in China where they want 1,000 tons. However, our production cannot meet the demand of the Chinese market. We have strategies we are working on now to get more honey, including motivating beekeepers to keep more bees. We, as beekeeping experts, look at why our honey is looked at as medication. Within honey, there is sugar, acid, and the chemical hydrogen peroxide. This combination, as well as some enzymes, adds and creates an environment which prevents bacteria and fungi from growing.
Small farmers in Kasulu district, Kigoma region, have urged the government and development stakeholders to set up soil laboratories which will provide them with the correct information on types of seeds and fertilizers to use when growing various crops.
Yani hapa wilayani tungekuwa na wataalamu na wakatengeneza maabara hapa udongo wetu.
If we had experts in the district and if they created a laboratory, our soil was tested here, because we have many crops here like maize, cassava, and at times we're not sure what fertilizer to use, but if we had a lab close by, then we would be able to know what fertilizer to use.
Kwa bado tuna uhitaji mkubwa wa wadau mbalimbali.
We still need various stakeholders as well as various government efforts to ensure that all citizens know about their soil health so that they are aware of what fertilizer to use and how much of it, so that they can be productive, and this will also help them reduce production costs.
And that's where we leave off with business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Marquinhos. He did lose to Len.
And in sports, the NBA champions Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri arrived today ahead of the Giants of Africa training camp, which will start tomorrow until Sunday at the Jakaya Kikwete Youth Park in Dar es Salaam.
Giants of Africa ni program ambayo ameanzisha Masai Ujiri pamoja na washirika wenzake.
Masai Ujiri and his fellows started this camp to help Africans in recognizing basketball talents and developing them by making basketball a tool for their success. He has been doing this program since 2014. He did it in Nigeria, Senegal, and other countries.
Kwa sisi wa Afrika kufanikiwa.
And more than 200 children with special needs, including participants of Special Olympics, have taken part in a training event, with society being urged to allow children with special needs to participate in sports like normal children.
Olympics, Paralympics, and Special Olympics.
This will help them a lot because we have Special Olympics as well as Paralympics where children are involved. So it is not true that if you have special needs, you cannot be involved. In South Africa, children went. In Zanzibar, there is Special Olympics. So these kids also get the chance of being featured to participate in sports as well.
Kick It Out has issued a call to action to social media companies after the Chelsea forward Tammy Abraham was the victim of online racial abuse. Here is the story.
Abraham was the subject of several abusive posts on Twitter after his penalty was saved by the Liverpool goalkeeper Adrian, sealing UEFA Super Cup victory in a shootout for Jurgen Klopp's side on Wednesday. Last night, we received reports of racist abuse at Tammy Abraham on social media after Chelsea's UEFA Super Cup match. A Kick It Out statement read, "Such abuse is now increasingly predictable, but not less disgusting." Kick It Out has already called on the FA and individual clubs to take action after disgraceful incidents of reported abuse on the first weekend of the season. The anti-discrimination body highlighted Cyrus Christie's allegation that his sister was hit and racially abused by a Fulham fan during their game at Barnsley, and said Southern's Theo Robinson, Stoke's James McLean, and Barnsley's Bambo Diaby were also subjected to unacceptable discriminatory abuse.
3 years to the day since he first began his protest against racist police violence in the United States, Colin Kaepernick has posted a stirring and emotional video reminding us that the fight is far from over.
The former NFL quarterback, whom we believe has been ostracized by the league since he first began sitting, then kneeling during the playing of the national anthem before games, posted the video to Twitter on Wednesday. In the video, which features graphic footage of a number of high-profile police killings, Kaepernick asks, "How can you stand for the national anthem of a nation that preaches and propagates freedom and justice for all, that is so unjust to many of the people living in it?" Also appearing in the video are family members of people who have been killed by police, including Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, and Philando Castile.
Osala, the pilot flying the plane he was in when it crashed into the channel, were probably exposed to potentially fatal levels of carbon monoxide, investigators have announced. Here is the report.
Toxicology tests on the Cardiff City footballer found levels of carboxyhemoglobin formed in the blood when exposed to carbon monoxide above the point doctors consider to be fatal. Inspectors at the Air Accident Investigations Board, AAIB, said that as the cockpit of the Piper Malibu Light aircraft was not separated from the cabin when it crashed in January, it was likely that the pilot, David Ibbotson, would also have been affected. The report reveals that Salah had co-saturation levels of 58% in his blood. Levels in excess of 50% are generally considered to be potentially fatal, doctors said. The AAIB said the gas can reduce or inhibit a pilot's ability to fly an aircraft depending on the level of that exposure. The body of Ibbotson from Lincolnshire has still not yet been found.
And that's what item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Na wafanyakazi wa makampuni ya IPP wanatoa pongezi nyingi na za dhati kwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Dr. John Pombe Magufuli kwa kuwa mwenyeji wa mkutano wa 39 wa SADC.
Kind of smoked, golden, crispy part, and that is usually my favorite.
This week on Culinary Delights.
So what we're going to do today in this episode, tutajifunza how to grill without using a griller.
Ukiwatia hapa watakuwa kama wanajichoma huko wanajichemsha sababu ya rojo la sosi, lakini ukiwaweka kwenye cooling wire inasaidia tu hii sauce kwenda chini, nyama ikabaki juu.
On Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Hello viewers of Capital Television. Karibu kwenye Cap Chat